Hi everyone, this is Abu Mesarsh, aka at BundesPL, with a quick video breakdown of the best World Cup games so far in Russia 2018. Talking, of course, about Portugal versus Spain, the 3-3 thriller as it was. So let's get into the breakdown. In terms of the lineups, Fernando Hierro, who would replace Julian Lopetegui, had made a couple of notable changes, which, one of them, Nacho playing at right back, was somewhat anticipated by a lot of the media, just owing to Portugal's strong left side, defensive presence like Nacho, who is more of a center back, was needed. And then Koke, the Atletico Madrid midfielder, played in the right half space against Thiago, instead of Thiago, who was left on the bench there. Spain lined up in their customary 4-3-3. And with the Diego Costa up top, who had replaced the Lopetegui favorite Rodrigo, and then Iniesta and Silva in the half spaces with Isco kind of in a free left-sided role, but for a free number 10 role. And Portugal, on the other hand, had a sort of a defensive-minded 4-2-2-2 that focused on counterattacks, particularly on the left side, as Cedric on the right side wasn't really allowed to go up too much, and Bernardo Silva even stayed back a lot. And their main. Let's get into the keys to the game in this one. So for Spain, it was to create overloads on Portugal's right side thanks to Isco's free roll, and then find Diego Costa inside the box, through combinations with Iniesta and Jordi Alba or Isco, and make sure that Koke and Nacho don't stray too far up the pitch to protect against the left side of Portugal, which is where they want to attack, where Rafael Guerreiro can get forward and create a lot, especially with combining with Bruno Fernandes or later with João Mario in the half spaces. Obviously, they want to get the ball to Ronaldo. There's two ways for them to do so, which is one was the one with Guerreiro, or the other one is to do quick counterattacks to find Gonzalo Guedes, who has become more of a basically an attacker at this point, and using his speed to lay off the balls to Ronaldo or as an outlet, and then give Ronaldo chances to either play one-on-one or get shots off directly. Well, as best a lot of the plans are, it all works well until you get punched in the mouth, as Mike Tyson said, and this is exactly what happened to Spain. Not allowing Portugal to get behind them and to break them down, and prevent those long balls. And it took all of 2 minutes, where you could see really nicely in this picture that it's basically a 2v5 for Portugal, who want to bypass the midfield, like I said. But apparently the Spanish guys didn't get that memo, and you can see how Busquets, Koke, Iniesta, Costa, and Isco are forming a triangle with even Silva out of the play, and Pepe isn't really pressured a lot. So Spain are just overcommitted there in the center. And unfortunately, what that leads to is an overload on their right side, where you'll see a 3v2 with Guerreiro, Guedes, and Ronaldo. On top of that, David Silva, who has to track back a lot because Koke and Busquets are also way behind, does a poor job of contesting on Ronaldo, who shakes him off, and then can run at Nacho basically with a couple of passing options as well. So he elects to run at Nacho and then get the penalty, and that will put Portugal up 1-0 to 0. And actually this kind of carried on, and Spain did come out, but in the 20th minute there was a wonderful counter by Portugal where Bernardo Silva played a beautiful diagonal ball that with a 3v2, but that Ronaldo unselfishly made a extra pass to Guedes, who really should have shot it first, and then ended up taking an extra touch and not getting the shot off. But that was Portugal's golden chance to go 2-0 up. From then on, they also themselves kind of committed a silly mistake for the second goal. Although I have to question Fernando Santos's decision there not to counter press, and how Portugal was so stretched, probably like 80 yards there before the equalizer. Talking about the situation where they go down on 23rd minute, and Guerreiro hits in a cross that PK ends up clearing. But as you'll see from the slide, it's just three Portuguese attackers and a huge gulf between that and the next Portugal players. You could see how Spain have seven guys back, but as it's cleared, Busquets has nobody's even near him, and although he doesn't have too many options, other than dumping it off to Iniesta, he recognizes that since there's no pressure on him, he can play a kind of speculative long ball towards Diego Costa. And I mean, when you look at the next picture, you just see how clearly what poor counter pressing structure Portugal have here. There's six guys that are sort of there's three pairs of sort of sadness. They're just not really guarding anybody, and there's no pressure on Busquets. And then there's another those three guys are all in a 20 yard space, and then there's another 20-30 yards between them and a Cedric, I believe, and Font. And then you'll see Costa is all the way up the pitch by himself against Pepe. So if they have three defenders back there, either why not have them a little bit closer so Costa can't just go one-on-one, or why not just step up and play him offside. I mean, you'll see that Iniesta is trailing Diego Costa by a good 40 yards, and obviously Costa then is able to make the most of it with a basically kind of an illegal push there on Pepe, but then does wonderfully to put Jose Font and then Cedric on their butts and dispatches the ball to make it 1-1. And after that equalizer, Spain began to assert their dominance, mostly on the left side, as I mentioned before, particularly because of strong counter-pressing movements. They're winning the ball back a lot of times and not allowing Portugal to get out, and they just have to play the ball long, and then Spain would recycle it, particularly Sergio Ramos, who was 10 of 12 on long balls in the match, would initiate a lot of the attacks, not either long or sometimes just, dropping it for Isco and Iniesta, who kept switching, and they came into the left half space, and then, the other one would show up in the opposition box, and then with Jordi Alba supporting them. So Portugal didn't really have an answer for that, which is sort of weird, because as something that you could have really easily prepared for. And you can see the passing numbers here, how just insane that is between the 22nd and the 43rd minutes here for Spain. You can see Isco and Ramos. Ramos actually attempted 35 passes in the stretch, which is incredible. And then Portugal, there's, I think Carvalho is in the teens, and everybody else is just kind of not there. So here's Isco beginning to take over, and a wonderful dashboard from Statstone that you can check here. So you can see how excellent Isco was, and then at this point, sort of 30 between the 22nd and 45th minute, Portugal were really pushed in deep in a deep block, and very rarely able to get out of it. I think they attempted just one shot in these 22 minutes, and then obviously went into the break somehow up to one because of that really terrible De Gea howler that he let in, with a very poor body positioning, and it didn't really faze Spain too much. They continued to control the game in the second half with possession, but they equalized with a wonderful set piece. You could see David Silva here motioning to Busquets to get wider, because they're going to try to isolate him at the far post against Gonzalo Guedes. Busquets has a height advantage here, and Portugal don't really defend this too well. They're not well organized for this set piece, and Busquets just has time there. And he's obviously taller than Getchen, and the ball is perfect, and he can head it across. And then João Moutinho is really far behind Diego Costa, who then makes it 2-2. And it was really Spain beginning to dominate here again in the second half with their counter-pressing movements. You can see how many guys they have near the ball, even as they lose it just before the wonderful cracker of a goal by Nacho. But I think the interesting part is Isco, who gets kind of a long pass from Iniesta and then slides in to counter-press, and thereby impacts the clearance, and that's why the ball isn't able to get cleared, and then Nacho can just score the goal of the tournament so far. making up for his earlier error. But the structure by Spain is here is again excellent. I mean, stark contrast to what Portugal were doing before the first Diego Costa goal. I mean, look how close they are, and Portugal just have no outlet, and they have to make decisions so quickly. And interestingly enough, Portugal did get on after going down 2-3. They made a couple of changes with João Mario, who replaced the ineffective Bruno Fernandes. And then this is a time when Rafael Guerreiro really got involved. He attempted 26 of his 65 completed passes in the last 30 minutes. Spain, fatigue had set in at this point. Iniesta's legs kind of went. Diego Costa had to go out. And then it was, Cristiano Ronaldo's turn to snatch the goal of the tournament trophy so far from Nacho, from his teammate Nacho, who had just taken it earlier with a wonderful free kick that just cleared poor Sergio Busquets' head, and basically that capped off the best game of the World Cup so far. You can see Portugal's all three of their shots on target turned into to goals, while for Spain it took 13 shots and 6 of them got on target to get those 3 goals. But overall, I think the expected goals were like 1.6 even. So a couple of defensive mistakes, a couple of howlers, a couple of monster goals. A couple of illegal plays maybe, but a fascinating World Cup, and really looks like the World Cup has truly started with this one. So if you like this one, you can follow me on Twitter at BundesPL, and obviously read and hear a lot of my work here. Right now, I'm mostly doing stuff in Hungarian for 24.hu, which is the second biggest site in Hungary. So you can follow some of the coverage there if you're proficient in Google Translate. But I'll be back later on to do maybe more of these, given, let's see what time I have. So this is Abo Mesa at BundesPL signing off.